if they want to.
And welcome to Let Them Talk. I'm Paul DiRienzo, and our guest is Lenny Foster.
Oh, hela. Doyat Diné do le Zunia di qua. Kian ein slant saltane was es centro by da che. En gaan e da chanel e wat ana be gunsla. Ze hot so holiero yesanasha ado ba hens en di qua. En ik hadit is don't needy. I want to thank you for inviting me this evening, and I made my introduction in my Diné language. My clan is a townhouse clan born for Mountain Cove, and my maternal grandparents are River Edge, and my paternal grandparents are one who walks around. That's what I say to my Diné language, and I would thank you for the opportunity to talk with you this evening about important issues affecting our community and our Indian nation.
Right. Thank you very much for joining us, Lenny. You're returning, actually. This is your third guest, your third visit to Let Them Talk and to New York, and it's always very interesting to talk to you. I know the serious issue that you're referring to is, of course, to try and free Leonard Peltier, who is a Native American political prisoner who's, you'll tell us where he's being held currently, and he's been in prison for decades now on trumped-up charges, and we'll tell that story and remind people of that story. This week is a very important week at the United Nations. Indigenous people from all over the world are here, and so it's a perfect time to talk about Leonard Peltier and trying to get him free. A difficult job in the best of times, and now we have, of course, Donald Trump, who's not exactly a friend of the people, so it seems. But then at the same time, as we were discussing earlier, Donald Trump is such a mercurial personality. I don't want to say anything is impossible, and maybe this might be the good year for Leonard Peltier, we hope. So we'll be talking more about this, and we're promoting this event that's happening Sunday, April 28th, at the People's Forum, which is located at 320 West 37th Street in New York City, and that's from 2 to 5 p.m. So, Lenny, how have you been the last year? You were here a year ago. What's transpired in the last year? Besides your
yeah,
it looks very
my right eye had
dashing.
some problems with it, and they're getting it fixed. So I have 2 more weeks to wear this patch, but it's been a very tiring year for me, because the issues are still present that affect our community, our lives, and the Indian people. We feel that the civil rights, human rights, treaty rights of Indian people are very serious, and we need to continue to seek compliance and enforcement, the different rights and agreements and provisions in these treaties that our people have signed over 100 years ago. And we come to the United Nations to bring these issues before an international arena where we have relatives throughout Western Hemisphere who have congregated here at the United Nations in New York City, and where I'm talking about the issues of religious rights and religious cultural practices in the prison system, and specifically on the wrongful incarceration of Leonard Peltier. He's been incarcerated going on 45 years, and he's 75 years old. He's not in the best of health. He's experiencing some serious health problems, issues around his heart and diabetes, and just affecting him, not being able to enjoy the sunshine and being able to go outside and breathe the fresh air, things like that we take for granted. So we feel that he qualifies for immediate release, on compassionate release, based on his health condition, and also he has an upcoming parole hearing. And we certainly want to push for release on parole. He definitely qualifies after going on 45 years. And one of the avenues is to seek an audience with President Trump to discuss this injustice of our Indian peoples that are wrongfully incarcerated, especially Leonard Peltier, where many constitutional violations were committed against him, and we need to continue to seek his release.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons I'm here in New York again, to take these concerns and to be heard. That forum that we have, we want to educate the community, educate the public. We certainly seek the support and just your presence to hear our concerns, the issues affecting the Indian community, Indian families throughout this country.
Right. And, well, I love your hat. It's a great hat, beautiful hat. I love the band around it. Yeah. But let's see you. It's casting a shadow on your face, and we just want to see. There he is. Oh, yeah. There, Lenny Foster. Welcome.
Thank you.
I love your hat, but we love seeing you.
Thank you. Yes.
So you've a little background. We've talked a lot about your stories, but just to remind folks. You work in the prisons with Native American people, right, from different, all over the United States. You actually go into prisons, and you've won many victories as far as the rights of Native American prisoners to practice their religion.
It's been a beautiful journey for me. It's actually a spiritual journey, because I've advocated and fought for religious and cultural rights of our Native people who are incarcerated in the state prison system and the Federal Bureau of Prison. I worked on policies, state statutes, introduced legislation at the state level and also at the federal level, with the strategy that if we're able to secure these rights through the law books, then our people would be allowed to practice their ceremonial practices, including excess use of the sweat lodge for cleansing and purification, the right to congregate and have talking circles and smoke the pipe, which is central to all Native Americans praying and using tobacco and Indian tobacco. I'm not talking about white man's tobacco, but Indian tobacco, whether it's mountain smoke or Kinnicknick. And we congregate and have our talking circles and pray and smoke the pipe, pray, sing. It's very important. Those are essential for our right to express our humanity as Indian people. And it's a central practice for many indigenous people throughout Western Hemisphere and perhaps throughout the world. Their communion with Mother Nature, the forces of nature, whether it's water, the oceans, the forests, and the access to plants and animals. And the plants, I mean, like sage and cedar, juniper, lavender, the plants that are used as medicinal purposes, and also access to animals, whether it's buffalo or deer, elk, and using birds, eagles, hawks, because they possess strong spiritual powers. So these are rights that we have as a human being, and we don't destroy or to indiscriminately take the lives of these animals or plants. We don't destroy. We recognize the sacredness of our lands and our waters and our mountains, our forests. So a lot of the people who are here at this United Nations gathering are talking about these issues. How is it that we can continue to save our forests, our sacred sites, areas where we go to pray? And a good example is Bear Ears National Monument that President Obama set aside as a monument, but Trump, he came along and he wants to open that up for drilling for uranium, coal, and resources, and that's not right. Those are sacred lands to the people who live in the area. We make pilgrimages to these areas to pray, and that's very important to our people. So these are things that we're fighting for. And one of the places to be heard in the international arena is the United Nations. So that's why our people have come to New York City at this time, and we do this once a year, and we're allowed to express our concerns with these issues. And it's difficult with the administration because, of course, you know, they see polluting the air, polluting the water, and that's important to them because of the profits that they make based on destroying of Mother Earth and upsetting the balance of nature. And they don't believe in climate change. They don't believe in global warming. And of course we do. We see that the reaction of Mother Earth is very severe. And you can see the signs and the warnings through hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes. These are signs, warnings to the five-finger people. We're five-finger people. The human being, that's what we call the human being. That's five-finger people. We recognize that, but other people, a lot of the other nationalities, they don't recognize that. And with all due respect, it doesn't seem Christianity seems to understand that basic concept. You have to take care of Mother Earth and she'll take care of us. So these are some of the serious issues that have been brought into the international arena. So all of our different relatives from Alaska and Canada, United States, Mexico, Central America, South America, Australia, New Zealand, the Hawaiian Islands, they come here to express their dissatisfaction of how the corporations, multinational corporations, are destroying Mother Earth. What happens if we run out of clean water and clean air? The very existence of the five-finger people will be null and void, no more. We don't want that. We were looked to the seventh generation, our grandkids, great-grandkids, great-great-grandkids on down the line. The decision that you and I make today will affect generations in the future. And we got to think like that. We got to be able to think that far, so we have something for our great-great-great-great-grandkids. Otherwise, you know, we're being very selfish. We're being very stingy with these teachings and destroying water and air. And we want to have the privilege or the right to enjoy these Mother Nature. And it's serious. It's serious. We're taught these things at a young age, and now we're at a point in our lives where we have a responsibility to express these teachings and share with the future generations. And my responsibility is to advocate for these rights. You mentioned I've been going into the prisons for the last 40 years. In the last 37 years, I was a spiritual advisor for Native Americans in the state prison systems in the Southwest Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah, and also the Federal Bureau of Prison. Throughout this country, I advocated for these rights and policies. I've testified in court as to why it's very important. And you know, it's become a way of life, and I want to thank you for allowing me to share this with your television audience. We feel it's important. I feel it's important.
Sure.
And I'm just one person expressing a voice, and the Great Spirit hears me. You know, the Great Spirit hears me, so I have to recognize that and share. And try to teach those that will listen And some people, they're not going to listen. They destroy. They don't care about if we have clean water, clean air. They don't care. You know, I don't know what they think life is all about, but we're abusing these teachings and abusing these beliefs. And it's important we reach out. And that's what I'm here. And I met some old friends from the Samis, from Finland and Norway and places like that, and some Aborigines from Australia, some old friends, and it was good to see them, to hear them talk. They also express what I'm sharing, and maybe in a different way, but they're still concerned for their generation. So we're uniting, and I think sometimes that scares the government, because we're uniting in harmony and just a fraternity of brotherhood and sisterhood. Mm-hmm. And it's a beautiful way of life. It's a beautiful feeling to be part of the struggle, to be part of this movement. And I myself have been involved with the American Indian movement for since 1970. It's almost 50 years. The 50th anniversary of the occupation of Alcatraz Island is this November. I'm looking forward to going out to San Francisco and participating in that anniversary, and see some old friends, and some have passed on. And we've had our anniversary for the formation of the American Indian movement in 2018, from 1968 to 2018, and the Wounded Knee, the anniversary of the takeover of the Wounded Knee is coming up. That happened 46 years ago, so we're coming on to the 50 years. So we've been involved. Many of us have been involved in this struggle. It's a human rights struggle. It's a treaty rights struggle.
Have things gotten better?
Somewhat. I think we're at a time in history where we've made some changes, and we affect the generations and the inspiration of the humanity, and thinking. And our younger generation are more conscious, aware, and so I think there are a lot of changes.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. Across the country,
sure,
which is causing a lot of the reaction by Trump and all these people.
I think one good example was the election of women into Congress. And some of these women are of different nationalities, different belief system, and of course, the right-wing, conservative right-wing people don't like that. They want us to be subservient. They don't want Native Americans to be friends with the Latinos or the African Americans or the Muslims or the Islamic. You know, they want us separate. They want us fighting each other, but it threatens them, their very existence. If we unite, we can speak to the animals. We pray to the birds and use the birds and the feathers in our ceremonies, and we pray for humanity. We pray for all five-finger people, and that threatens the power structure, the right-wing governments. They're afraid of that. They're afraid of unity. They want to suppress us, creating laws where if you protest, they're going to you're making like you gotta have insurance to do that. Otherwise, they're gonna fine you so much.
Like what happened with the pipeline protests in South Dakota, North Dakota.
Yeah, that's a good example. That's the way we're going with our judicial system.
And there's things happening in with the Bears Ears. You were saying that the uranium mining with the there's a new modernization of nuclear weapons that's happening, and they're going to start looking for uranium again.
Then that's very harming to the people that work in those mines. And it's the Indian people, the indigenous people, the poor people that work in these mines to extract. And the same with trying to go back to coal, uranium, and exploiting the Mother Earth and polluting the water. It's dangerous. We're at a very serious, dangerous time in history. And you pollute the water, what are you going to drink? Think about that.
Right.
I don't think the white man thinks about that. When I say white man, it's actually his government and his corporations.
That's a state of mind.
Yeah,
the state of mind.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a negative state of mind, unfortunately, colonial state of mind. I noticed you brought your drum again.
Yeah. Maybe
I don't know if you'd
can
be
share
interested
a song
in sharing a song
for the
with
audience.
us. It'd be interesting.
One song that I would dedicate right off the top would be the Peltier song.
Oh,
so without further ado, this song is for our brother who's incarcerated 45 years. We're seeking his release from prison so he can reunite with his children, grandchildren, and live out his remaining years on his homeland in North Dakota. That's a beautiful song, beautiful song.
It sure is.
I'd like to sing one more song. That's the national anthem song of the American Indian Movement. short version of the National American Indian Movement song.
Right.
It's
wonderful.
very inspirational for our Indian people, the community, and freedom fighters all over the world. We dedicate that to the people who are struggling at this time to improve justice and the resistance, and just trying to become better human beings.
Okay.
And I want to thank you for that, this opportunity, this time,
Well, I think it's the least.
Yeah.
You know, the very, very least we can do is give a voice to the leaders of the people who've been, you know, were said to have been. I mean, 100 years ago, they said that the Native Americans were gone. They were history. They were movies, and now they're an important part of American culture.
John Wayne didn't kill us all.
Right, John
Kit
Wayne.
Carson.
Right.
Custer.
Right.
You know, all these.
They all got movies, and then the Indians didn't get movies. But now it's changing. How do you think? Last minute, what do you think of the depiction in culture, popular culture, movies, and things like that of Native Americans? Is it getting better, or is it still, you think, false?
Well, as long as we do not have an input, we do not have a seat at the table, nothing will change. We need to bring our way of life, our thoughts, our opinions, our medicine to the table and discuss and participate fully in these discussions that affects our lives. And if these movies are to be made to depict Indian life, then we need to have a seat at the table and have a voice at the table. Right. And
I love John Trudell. Was a good friend. I met him a couple of times. Well, we have to go now. And thank you, Lenny Foster, for joining us. Freedom for Leonard Peltier.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're done.
Oh, good. Yep.
Okay, watch out for your thing here. Let me get it out for you.